Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Mike Ripley with the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. We have about 5,000 members, totaling about 800,000 employees. We would just wanted to say we have a standing policy about lawsuit lending. We actually have taken a position to ban the practice. However, we recognize that it does exist and there is a need for it. And we would tend to support what Mr. Baker has, Attorney General Mr. Baker has said previously. We'd like to see the caps, the interest rate capped.
Questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Why do you want a cap? I mean,
we think that there's
hold on.
Okay, I'm
hold
sorry.
on a second. We do have caps, and Mr. Baker brought that up, but those are usury caps, and those are typically when it comes to paying penalties on defaulted loans and things like that. But when you initially go get a loan, we let the market kind of dictate where you are. And I would think the chamber, out of all the public interest groups here, would be supportive of that. Caps would just, I mean, do you understand the fact that caps would just... Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm just trying to understand why you would be supportive of caps.
Let me, and we've had, and that is a very fair question for the Indiana Chamber. About every industry that we have is regulated to some varying degree or another. One of the positions that we have taken in regards to civil justice is we want to maintain the integrity of the civil justice system. You know, we don't want frivolous lawsuits. We don't want things that can muck up the litigation process. We think that by not having a cap allows for those higher interest rates, and depending on the outcome of the case settlement, that could prolong it. A defendant or a plaintiff could be waiting for a bigger result, and it could impact the result of that litigation. And so our thinking is that so that we don't stifle that process at the end of the settlement, probably ought to have an interest rate cap on it, because we think that as if there's no cap, then the outcome is significantly different than it would be if you're going to have to pay 45% or 25% or whatever that interest rate is over the course of that process of the litigation. It can impact the outcome of the case. That's our thinking behind it. We think that there ought to be a cap there, and House Bill 1340 says is it at 25%. I don't know if that's the right amount. We supported that, but at some point there ought to be some type of cap, we believe, and not to the point where it puts the industry out of business, but it puts some parameters on that decision-making process by the plaintiff in terms of his ultimate settlement.
Just want to clarify, if I could, I know this is kind of, I just want to clarify. So now you're saying the free market would create a higher interest rate. Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well,
can you explain to me any anecdotal data that you shows that shows that a free market will create a higher rate? Have any information on that?
I do not.
Okay.
We've originally our position would have been to ban the practice in Indiana, period. But we recognize that there are some cases where folks do need, and the practice is being used now. So let's regulate it and have some parameters around it.
All right. Thank you, Mike.